come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free.
Hi there, it's Shawn Mosch. Thank you so much for joining me bright and early this morning. I want to give a quick shout out to Kelly in the comments and all of her comments on chair dancing and side to side. I was jamming out to those tunes. So I'm glad you could join me in my chair dance. So hello from Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm just outside the Twin Cities. Those of you that know me know I'm a Cricut crafter. I love to make anything with my Cricut. And even beyond that, I love teaching others how to use their Cricut. I feel like once you learn to use that software, you can make anything you can imagine. And let's talk about this card. Okay, I love this card because of that shiny cardstock. The bad thing about it is when I'm trying to show it off, like you get the mirrored effects of things, so it kind of is hard to. Pictures don't show how beautiful this is. And then beyond the shiny stuff is that lightly embossed white cardstock, which to me, those of you from the snowy states like Minnesota, you know that after the snow falls, like sometimes you get that little, it looks like a quilted effect on the snow. And when I was looking at this, I was like, that's what that reminds me of, kind of that quilted snow. So drop your questions. And I know it's the first live and you're like, okay, well, I haven't even done the card and done the class yet. That's okay. Literally any question you have about using a Cricut, I can answer. So the first question we have is, I have a Cricut and I don't know the things you taught in the class. I have a question. I noticed you had your dial on custom, but when did you use the dial, or does the dial matter? Okay, so the machine I was using is a Cricut Explorer that has the dial on it. So to pick your material, you spin the dial. There's some presets on it, like vinyl, cardstock, chipboard. But then, because the Cricut can cut so many other things, there's a spot called custom. So when you put on custom, you can literally go in and pick from hundreds of different materials. So that's why I had it on custom. Now, if you have one of the machines that doesn't have the dial, it's just when you go to pick your material, they show you kind of the most popular choices or ones you've bookmarked. Then there's browse more materials, and that's basically the same as setting your dial to custom. You can go down the rabbit hole of settings, and you can make your own settings. For example, this cardstock is all from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. And if you shop there, use coupon code SHAWN M10. I'll save you 10%. You can thank me later. Anyway, so I did some experimenting with some of the different cardstock types at 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. I have a video on their YouTube about that. And I show you how you can do test cuts and then set up custom settings. And I even named it Encore Cardstock so that I knew whenever I use the Encore, click on this button. So that's a great little tip for you. Lisa says, just a thought. I have found using my craft tweezers works better than picking up intricate pieces. For some, it does. Those tweezers, or at least the ones I've used, feel backwards to me. So what I do is I have a pin pen. It's technically used or designed for weeding vinyl, those little teeny tiny pieces. And what I do is a lot of times I'll find a place that I know can be hidden pretty easily and kind of poke my pin into that spot to then pick things up and move them into place. The other thing I love to do is use iron-on vinyl on cards. I didn't with this card, but if you've seen some of my past videos, you know that I use the iron-on vinyl on the cardstock all the time. That's really great because then you can weed away what you don't want and just position it. You can look through that clear carrier sheet and go, yep, that's right where I want it. Even just use a little mini press over it and heat that puppy up. No glue or moving things around. And then you just peel off the carrier sheet and boom, you have a beautiful card. So, Sharon, I was just looking at your question there. You have so many questions about your Cricut. I don't even know where to begin. Well, as I said already, I strongly believe that if you learn to use the software, you can make anything you want. I don't cook a lot, but I use this cooking analogy. Would you go, if you got a new KitchenAid mixer, would you go online and find a tutorial of how to make one recipe and then go, okay, I just can do that one thing. I don't know what all the other buttons and functions of the mixer do. No, you would probably investigate and figure out what all the options are so you could use it to fit your needs. I use that same thought process with the Cricut. I really focus on teaching you, what does the slice button do and why would I use that? What's contour? And I have a mini course, $5, called Learn the Lingo, where I high level take you through those most popular terms like slice and contour. Then I have my full online Cricut course, and that takes you through each and every button. And when they add a new button, I add a new section to the course. So then you can open up the course and it'll be refreshed with new information. I started the course back in 2020 or 2021, and then there was a huge Cricut update in 2022, and I updated the whole course. So never again will you have to worry about, I'm trying to learn how to upload something and the video is 5 years old and Design Space looks totally different. In my course that you can buy and have use of it forever, I'll update those kind of things. So you don't have to go searching. Also, beyond that, I also have a Patreon group, and we're going to drop some links in here for things. The Patreon group for $5 a month, you can join, and there's a lot of benefits, but I think the biggest one is once a month, I do a 1-hour coaching call. It's a live video, but instead of dropping comments in a comment section, you're talking with me. So you can ask me questions and I can pull up Design Space and say, this is how you would do it. I record those and put the recording link in my Patreon group. So if you join today, you would get to see all the videos from past months. And then you'd also be able to, compile your questions and join me on the next coaching call and ask all your questions live and in person. Once I get going, I go. So what other questions? I saw somebody say something about resizing. Yes, you can resize for smaller projects. Okay, Rebecca says, I've seen so much for the Cricut, but I have a silhouette. Can Cricut SVGs be adapted for silhouette? Okay, so all of the designs that are inside Cricut Design Space live in Cricut Design Space. They are forever trapped inside Cricut Design Space. If you're using an SVG, like the one that I provided for this card, you can upload that to any software that uses an SVG. Now, some people, even I have done a video on this that talks about exporting things from Cricut Design Space. There are ways to get a very low quality PNG file out of Design Space. I don't recommend it. They're very low quality. You would still have to use another software to convert them to an SVG to bring it into your silhouette. But don't let that hold you back. There are hundreds of places you can get free SVG files. I have a list on my website. If you Google Shawn Mosch free SVG, I have a list of places where you can get free SVGs. What I do is sometimes I'll see a design in Design Space and think, oh, that's cute, but I don't want to pay for that image. And I'll go search some of the free resources. I might find a very similar phrase. And I was like, yep, that works with what I'm doing. Or sometimes I find 2 or 3 images that this has one little piece and that has another little piece. And I take the pieces and parts from all the different designs and combine them into my own unique design, but doing it for free. That's another thing I want to point out. I'm kind of the unicorn. I do not pay for Cricut access. I do everything I do with my Cricut for free. Design Space is a free software. Access gives you access to the Cricut images, which you do not own. Even if you've used them 100 times, if you turn off your Cricut Access membership, you can no longer use that image unless you pay for it again or re-sign up for access. So I know there are some features that are exclusive to Access members, but each and every one of those, I have found an option on other platforms that allow you to do the same thing for free. This is something else I talk about in my Patreon group. If you want to save the expense of those access memberships, learn from me, because I'll show you how I do everything for free. Next question is, which custom dial setting do you use for the shiny paper used for this cardstock? Is the shiny paper regular cardstock? This is from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. I cannot remember the brand name, but under their cardstock, there's a metallic, and I use the same cut settings for the shiny as I do for their Encore cardstock. And again, I'm going to throw you over to go check out the 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop YouTube page, which I don't have the link for that handy. And on there, if you search my name, Shawn, you'll find my video of cutting intricate cuts or cutting with Encore cardstock. And in there, I show you how I go through the testing process of testing cuts. And then once I determine this is the best cut, setting up my own custom cuts. Speaking of test cuts, I highly recommend when you're using a new material, do a test cut, even if it's just a little heart or star. And even when you're switching brands, say you're using iron-on vinyl, and you're like, well, it's not Cricut brand or Caesar brand that I usually use. It's some other new brand that I decided to give a try. Do a test cut. Nothing makes me more sad than seeing somebody that set up a whole big project and they cut, a 12 by 12 mat, and they're like, it's all cutting wrong. Well, take the time to do that little test cut and tweak it and see, is this going to work for this material? Cricut settings are set up to be best for Cricut brand materials. So anytime you use a material outside of the Cricut family, you really, really need to test and make sure it works with those settings. Billy says, do you have any tricks for how to cut mirrored card without getting scratches? Oh, so my first question is, are you getting scratches because the blade is not moving up? So I'm not gonna lie, with this one, but it's kind of got that metallic mirrored effect, and I had to be really careful because, and now that I'm looking at it, I can see a fingerprint smudge. What I did with this one is I took a little glasses cleaner wipe and wiped it off after I had it cut to get fingerprint marks off. The other trick I have seen some people try, which I don't use, but I know other people swear by it, is to place the cardstock shiny side down. The bad thing about that, I find my mat leaves sticky residue on it, so that it didn't really save me any problems, or it got rid of one problem and created another, is what I'm trying to say. So use the little spatula to get under your cut and pop it up, and then get your finger under it and just, without touching. Do you remember old school when we would get pictures back and we'd like, oh, only hold it by the edges. Don't touch the, yeah, you kind of gotta be like that. Or use metallic mirrored HTB, and then you don't have to worry about that. What was the pickup pen you used? It is the pin pen. It's a weeding tool for weeding iron-on vinyl. And mine is sold from mycraftsource.com. I'm an influencer for mycraftsource. If you shop there, use coupon code Shawn Mosch to save 5% every time you shop. There are other companies that sell pens. It's really like a clicky pen, but what pops out instead of something to write with is a pin. It looks a lot like I sew also, so it looks a lot like just a straight pin stuck in a pen holder. So I'm getting the that's a wrap, and thanks for watching signal, which means I've babbled too long. But if you still have more questions, drop them in the Facebook group. You can reach out to me. I'm on social media. I have a Cricut Facebook group. I have a YouTube channel, which I believe we're going to drop the link for. You can join my Patreon group so that you can talk one-on-one with me. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. So I hope you enjoy making my card, and I can't wait to see your variations.